The conference room on Nexus Prime Station stretched wider than 3 football fields. Ambassadors from 47 different species sat in their special chairs, designed for bodies of every imaginable shape. Some breathed oxygen, others methane. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few were just clouds of intelligent gas held together by force fields. Ambassador Hyunwoo Park sat in the human section, his gray hair perfectly combed, his formal suit pressed and clean. He had represented Earth at the Galactic Council for 15 years. In that time, he had negotiated trade deals, settled disputes, and built friendships with creatures who looked nothing like him. He believed in the Council. He believed that different species could work together for peace and progress. Today would shatter that belief forever. Hyunwoo's assistant, a young woman named Minji Han, rushed into his office early that morning. Her face was pale. Her hand shook as she held a datapad. "Ambassador, you need to see this," Minji said. Her voice cracked. "I was processing routine files from the Council archives. The system had a glitch. It showed me files I should not have seen." Hyunwoo took the datapad. At first, he did not understand what he was reading. Technical reports, military authorizations, casualty projections. Then he saw the header, Operation Silent Garden. The date, 23 years ago. The target, Taeyang 4. His blood went cold. Taeyang 4 had been a human colony world. 340,000 people lived there. Scientists, farmers, teachers, children. Then one day a massive asteroid struck the planet. At least that was the official story. The Council had sent condolences. They had offered aid for the survivors. Except there were no survivors. Everyone died. Hyunwoo had attended the memorial service. He had seen families weep for their lost loved ones. The whole human race had mourned. Now, staring at the datapad, he learned the truth. There had been no asteroid. The Vryn Protectorate, one of the Council's military powers, had destroyed Taeyang 4 with plasma weapons. They had burned the entire colony from orbit, and the Council had authorized it. The files explained why. Scientists on Taeyang 4 had discovered a new type of faster-than-light communication. It was revolutionary. With this technology, messages could travel instantly across 500 light-years. The current Council system could only manage 50 light-years, and it was slow and expensive. The Council controlled all long-range communication in the galaxy. They used this control to monitor members, to gather intelligence, to maintain power. The humans on Taeyang 4 were going to share their discovery freely with everyone. This would break the Council's monopoly. It would shift the balance of power, so the Council voted to destroy them. 38 species voted yes. Only 9 voted no. It was not even close. Hyunwoo sat in silence for 10 minutes. Minji waited, not knowing what to say. Finally, the ambassador stood up. "Call Captain Jiwon Kim. Tell her to prepare the Incheon Dawn for immediate departure. Then send a message to Minister Daeho Choi on Earth. Use the emergency channel. Tell him we have a situation." 3 hours later, Hyunwoo walked into the Council chamber. Every ambassador was present. High Counselor Velthar, a tall reptilian creature with cold yellow eyes, sat in the central seat. His scales were deep green and his voice always sounded like rocks grinding together. "I request an emergency session," Hyunwoo said. His voice was steady, but inside he was screaming. Velthar looked annoyed. "Ambassador Park, we have a full schedule today. Can this wait?" "No," Hyunwoo said. "It cannot." Something in his tone made the chamber go quiet. Velthar studied him with those reptilian eyes. Then he nodded. The other business was postponed. Hyunwoo activated the main display. The files from Operation Silent Garden appeared for everyone to see. Images of Taeyang 4 before the attack. Beautiful cities. Green fields. Then the after images, a blackened, dead world. 23 years ago, this council authorized the murder of 340,000 human civilians. Hyunwoo said, "You told us it was an asteroid. You lied. You killed them because they discovered something you wanted to keep secret. You killed them to maintain your power." The chamber erupted. Some ambassadors shouted denials. Others sat in shocked silence. A few, Hyunwoo noticed, looked guilty. They had known. Velthar did not deny it. He simply said, "It was necessary for galactic stability." Those words hit Hyunwoo like a physical blow. No apology, no remorse, just cold calculation. Necessary? Hyunwoo's voice rose. "You murdered children because you feared losing control. You are cowards and tyrants. Ambassador Crix, an insect-like creature from the Chithari, clicked his mandibles. Ambassador Park, you are being emotional. Sometimes difficult decisions must be made for the greater good. Hyunwoo laughed. It was a bitter, angry sound. The greater good. Is that what you call genocide now? He reached into his jacket and pulled out a physical copy of the Accord of Unity. This was the document humanity had signed 300 years ago when joining the Council. It promised mutual respect, cooperation, and justice for all member species. Hyunwoo held it up so everyone could see. Then slowly and deliberately he tore it in half. The sound of ripping paper echoed in the silent chamber. Humanity joined this council believing in justice and cooperation. You have proven you are capable of neither. We trusted you, and you betrayed us in the worst possible way. As of this moment, humanity severs all diplomatic ties with the Galactic Council. We are leaving. All of us. Velthar stood up. Ambassador Park, you cannot simply leave the council. There are procedures. There are treaties. Watch us, Hyunwoo said. He activated his communicator. Captain Jiwon Kim's face appeared on the screen. She was on the bridge of the Incheon Dawn, humanity's diplomatic vessel. Behind her, Hyunwoo could see other human ships gathering. Captain Kim, Hyunwoo said. Protocol Exodus. Understood, Ambassador, Jiwon replied. All human personnel begin immediate evacuation. I repeat, all human personnel are to leave council space immediately. The order went out across every human communication channel. On Nexus Prime Station, human workers stopped what they were doing and headed for the docks. On council worlds, human diplomats packed their belongings. Human merchant ships turned around and headed for home. Human engineers abandoned their projects. Human teachers left their classrooms. Within 6 hours, every human in council space was moving toward the border. It was the largest mass evacuation in galactic history. 300 years of integration, undone in a single day. Ambassador Crix watched the display screens showing human ships departing. This is madness. They will fail without us. They need the council. But Ambassador Thora of the Velkan Union, a mammalian species with gray fur, shook her head. No, Crix, I think we needed them more than we realized. Hyunwoo walked out of the chamber. He did not look back. Behind him he heard Velthar calling for order, but the chamber had dissolved into chaos. Some species were arguing. Others were calculating how this would affect their economies. A few looked frightened. They should be frightened, Hyunwoo thought. They had awakened something in humanity they had tried very hard to suppress. They had reminded humans why they should never trust others to protect them. As he boarded the Incheon Dawn, Hyunwoo looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Taeyang 4 orbited its sun, dead and empty. 340,000 ghosts waited for justice. They would not wait much longer. Captain Jiwon Kim stood on the bridge of the Incheon Dawn, watching the evacuation unfold with military precision. She was 42 years old with short black hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. For 20 years she had served in the human fleet and she had never seen anything like this. Status report, she said. Her second officer checked his console. All human personnel on Nexus Prime have boarded transport ships. The last group is departing now. Human vessels from Council worlds are converging on Rally Point Alpha. So far, no interference from Council forces. Keep it that way, Jiwon said. All ships are to maintain defensive formations. If anyone tries to stop us, we do not fire first. But we do not stop either. The evacuation took 3 days. It was organized chaos on a massive scale. Every human doctor, engineer, teacher, merchant, and diplomat left Council space. Ships filled with families, equipment, and personal belongings. Some people had lived in Council territory for decades. They left behind homes, friends, and lives they had built. But they left. On the 4th day, the last human vessel crossed into human space. Jiwon Kim sent a message to all Council border stations. It was simple and clear. This is Captain Jiwon Kim of the human fleet. As of now, all Council ships and personnel are forbidden from entering human space. Any vessel that crosses the border without permission will be turned back. Any vessel that refuses will be disabled. We do not want war, but we will defend our territory. Stay out. On Nexus Prime, the Council was discovering just how deeply humans had integrated into galactic society. It started with small problems that quickly became big ones. The medical center on Nexus Prime sent an urgent message to the Council. 40% of their doctors and researchers were human. They had all left. The head physician, a Folari named Renthis, stood in his empty laboratory and realized that half his treatments had been developed by human scientists. The formulas were there, but his staff did not fully understand them. They had relied on human experts to modify treatments for different species. Within a week, the Folari homeworld reported a crisis. A virus was spreading through their population. Normally, they would use human-developed antivirals, but the humans were gone, and the Folari scientists could not recreate the medicine. People started dying. The engineering problems were even worse. Humans maintained most of the deep space stations and FTL relay networks. These were the systems that allowed faster-than-light travel and communication across the galaxy. Human engineers had built them, maintained them, and improved them over 3 centuries. When they left, the system started failing. A relay station in the Corvin sector went offline. Without it, ships could not safely jump through that region of space. Trade routes collapsed overnight. The Corvin Mining Consortium lost billions in revenue. Food became another problem. Human agricultural science had fed dozens of worlds. They had developed special crops that could grow in different atmospheres and soils. They had created hydroponic systems that could produce food in space stations. Without human farmers and scientists, food production dropped sharply. On the industrial world of Chitauri Prime, factories went silent. Human engineers had designed their manufacturing systems. Human technicians had maintained them. Now those systems were breaking down and local workers did not know how to fix them. Unemployment rose to 30% in the first month. Ambassador Crix, whose family owned many of those factories, watched his fortune crumble. He called for an emergency council session. "We must bring the humans back," he insisted. "This situation is intolerable. Our economies are collapsing." High Counselor Velthar was less concerned. "They will come back. Humans need our markets. They need our resources. They will realize they cannot survive alone, and they will return on our terms." But Ambassador Thora of the Velkin Union disagreed. "With respect, High Counselor, I think you are wrong. Humans are stubborn, and they have every right to be angry." General Zarn of the Vryn Protectorate, the military leader whose forces had destroyed Taeyang 4, laughed. It was an ugly sound. "Then we remind them of their place. A show of force will bring them to heel." Thora stared at him. "You want to threaten them? After what you did to their colony? Have you learned nothing?" The council split into factions. The hardliners, led by Crix and Zarn, wanted to use pressure to force humanity back. The pragmatists, led by Thora, wanted to apologize and negotiate. A third group, the opportunists, simply tried to grab the resources and contracts that humans had left behind. Velthar decided to send diplomatic envoys to negotiate. 3 ships departed for human space, each representing a different faction. They carried offers of new trade deals, apologies, and in one case, threats. None of them made it past the border. Captain Jiwon Kim's fleet intercepted them at the edge of human space. Her ship surrounded the council vessels and ordered them to stop. "This is Captain Kim. You are not welcome in human space. Turn around and leave immediately." The lead diplomat, a Velkin named Korthas, tried to negotiate. "Captain, please. We only wish to talk. Surely we can resolve this situation peacefully." "There is nothing to resolve," Jiwon replied. "You killed our people and lied about it. You have shown us what you truly are. We want nothing more to do with you. But Captain, leave now or we will escort you out by force." The council ships left. All 3 diplomatic missions failed before they even began. Back on Earth, Minister Daiho Choi addressed the United Human Assembly. The large chamber was packed with representatives from every human world. The mood was angry and determined. Daiho was 55 years old, a career politician with gray temples and calculating eyes. He had spent his life in government and he knew how to use public opinion. "Citizens of humanity," he began. "For 23 years we mourned Taeyang 4. We honored our dead. We told ourselves it was a tragic accident. Now we know the truth. The council murdered 340,000 of our people to protect their power. They destroyed an entire world because they feared our progress." The chamber erupted in angry shouts. Daiho waited for quiet. "We have withdrawn from council space. But withdrawal is not enough. We must ensure this never happens again. We must become strong enough that no one dares attack us. We must become self-sufficient so we never depend on those who betrayed us." He outlined his plan: massive military expansion, industrial development, scientific research. Every resource humanity possessed would be directed toward one goal: making sure they never needed the council again. The assembly approved his plan with only 3 dissenting votes. Dr. Sumi Kang was appointed to lead Project Horizon. She was a brilliant scientist, only 38 years old, with wild curly hair and eyes that burned with intensity. She had lost her sister on Taeyang 4. Her mandate was simple: give us what the council has, then give us better. Sumi gathered the best minds in human space: engineers, physicists, biologists, computer scientists. They locked themselves in research facilities and began working around the clock. They had one advantage the council did not know about. For decades, human scientists had been quietly studying council technology. They had reverse-engineered FTL drives, weapon systems, and shield generators. It was technically illegal under council law, but every species did it. Humans were just better at it. Now that research would pay off, Sumi's team did not need to start from scratch. They already understood the basics. They just needed to improve on them. Commander Boram Lee oversaw military development. She was 49, a tactical genius with cold, practical thinking. She studied every battle the council had fought in the last century. She analyzed their strengths and weaknesses. Then she designed ships specifically to counter them. The council thought humans would collapse without them. They thought humanity would come crawling back within months, desperate and weakened. They were very wrong. Humans did not collapse. They worked. They adapted. They innovated. And with every passing day, they grew stronger. On Nexus Prime, Velthar finally began to worry. His intelligence reports showed human industrial output increasing rapidly. Their military was expanding. And most concerning, their scientists were making breakthroughs the council had not predicted. He called his advisors together. "We may have miscalculated," he admitted. Ambassador Thora gave him a level look. "May have? High Counselor, we destroyed their colony because we feared they would surpass us. Now we have given them every reason to do exactly that." Velthar had no response. For the first time in his long political career, he realized he had made a mistake that could not be fixed with words or deals. He had made an enemy of the most innovative, determined species in the galaxy. And they were not coming back. 6 months after humanity left the council, the cracks in galactic civilization became canyons. The Folari homeworld was dying. The virus that started as a small outbreak had spread to every continent. Without human medical technology, the Folari doctors could only watch as their people suffered. Hospitals overflowed. The death count reached 2 million and kept climbing. Ambassador Yunji Song had been the human medical liaison to the Folari for 8 years. She was 36 years old with kind eyes and steady hands. She had worked alongside Folari doctors, teaching them human techniques, sharing research. She had friends there, good friends. When her communicator chimed at 3 in the morning, she knew who it would be. "Yunji, please." It was Dr. Hilara, a Folari physician she had worked with for years. His blue fur looked matted and dirty. His hands shook. "My daughter is sick. My wife is sick. Everyone is sick. The council forbids us from contacting humans, but I do not care anymore. We need help, please." Yunji closed her eyes. She wanted to help. Every instinct screamed at her to help. But the decision was not hers to make. "Let me talk to my government," she said. "I will call you back." She contacted Minister Deho Choi immediately. He listened to her report without interruption. "The Folari are dying, Minister. We have the medicine they need. We have the knowledge. We could save millions of lives." Deho was quiet for a moment. "The council ordered them not to contact us. If we help the Folari, we undermine the council's authority. Other species will see that they can deal with us independently. Is that not what we want?" Yunji asked. A small smile crossed Deho's face. "Yes, it is exactly what we want. Send them the medicine. Send them the research. But make it clear. This is a direct agreement between humanity and the Folari people. The council is not involved. If they want our help in the future, they deal with us directly." Within 24 hours, human medical ships entered Folari space. They brought medicine, equipment, and doctors. The Folari government did not inform the council until the ships had already landed. When Velthar found out, he was furious. He demanded the Folari send the humans away immediately. The Folari ambassador, a dignified elderly female named Sorella, refused. "My people are dying, High Counselor. The council has done nothing to help us. The humans have. I will not choose council politics over Folari lives. Ambassador Crix clicked his mandibles angrily. This is a violation of council law. We should impose sanctions, Ambassador Thora stood up. If you impose sanctions on the Folari, the Velkin Union will leave this council. I am tired of watching politics kill people while we do nothing. Velthar realized he was trapped. If he punished the Folari, he would lose more species. If he did nothing, he showed the council was powerless. He did nothing. The precedent was set. Species could deal with humanity independently. The infrastructure problems got worse. 3 major relay stations failed completely. The Corvin Mining Consortium and the Talvex Trade Federation lost so much money that they threatened to withdraw their council membership, unless repairs were made immediately. But there were no engineers qualified to fix them. The council tried hiring non-human technicians, but they could not match human expertise. One repair attempt made things worse, causing a cascade failure that took down 5 more stations. Trade between council worlds slowed to a trickle. Ships that used to take days to reach their destinations now took weeks, using slower, less efficient routes. Businesses failed. Shortages spread. Prices skyrocketed. The Vryn Protectorate saw opportunity in the chaos. General Zarn had never forgotten that humans had embarrassed him by leaving so completely. Now he saw a chance to expand Vryn power while the council was weak. Vryn warships moved into 3 contested systems that had been abandoned by human traders. These systems had valuable resources, but the previous treaties had left their ownership unclear. With the council distracted, Zarn simply took them. The Velkin Union protested immediately. Those systems bordered Velkin territory. Ambassador Thora called it an act of aggression. General Zarn shrugged. Those systems were unclaimed. We claimed them. If the Velkin have a problem with that, they are welcome to try to remove us. The Velkin Union mobilized their fleet. Within a week, the first skirmishes broke out. No major battles yet, but ships exchanged fire. People died. The council was supposed to prevent exactly this kind of conflict. But now the council could barely function. Half the members were focused on their own crises. The other half were preparing for war or economic collapse. Velthar tried to negotiate peace between the Vryn and Velkin, but neither side trusted him anymore. The council's authority was evaporating. In desperation, Velthar tried to contact Ambassador Hyunwoo Park through secret channels. He sent a private message, one that would not appear in official records. Ambassador Park, we need to talk. I understand your anger. Perhaps we can find a solution that satisfies both our peoples. Hyunwoo's response was brief. No. Velthar tried again, this time through Captain Jiwon Kim. He offered formal reparations. Money, resources, trade agreements, anything humanity wanted. Jiwon's response was longer but no more encouraging. High Counselor, you killed 340,000 of our people and lied about it for 23 years. You did this to maintain your power over us and everyone else. Now you offer money? You think we can be bought? What do you want? Velthar asked. Justice, Jiwon said simply. But the council could not offer justice. Too many powerful members had voted for the Taiyang Force strike. Admitting guilt would mean putting ambassadors and generals on trial. It would mean destroying political careers and family legacies. The hardliners would never accept it. As Velthar struggled with his impossible situation, more species began secret negotiations with humanity. The Corvin Mining Consortium needed human engineers to fix their stations. The Talvex Trade Federation needed human ships to restore trade routes. The Folari needed ongoing medical support. 7 species formed a quiet bloc, secretly coordinating their outreach to humanity. They shared information, supported each other, and prepared to leave the council if necessary. Ambassador Crix discovered their plans. He was outraged. In an emergency council session, he demanded these species be declared in violation of council law. He wanted sanctions, penalties, and public condemnation. They are consorting with a hostile power, Crix insisted. They are undermining council unity. We must act. Ambassador Thora laughed in his face. Hostile power? The humans left peacefully. They have not attacked anyone. They have not threatened anyone. They simply want nothing to do with us. And can you blame them? They are poisoning other species against the council, Crix said. No, Thora replied. We poisoned ourselves when we murdered their people and lied about it. The humans are just choosing not to forgive us. That is their right. The vote on sanctions failed. More importantly, 12 additional species immediately opened secret channels to humanity after seeing how the Council treated members who sought human help. The Council was not just fracturing, it was collapsing. And everyone knew it. Belthar sat alone in his office late one night reviewing reports. Economic projections showed continued decline. Military reports showed increased conflicts. Political analysis showed the Council might lose half its members within a year. He had spent his entire career building and maintaining Council power. Now he watched it crumble because of one decision made 23 years ago, a decision he had supported. For the first time, Belthar truly understood what they had done. They had not just destroyed a colony, they had destroyed trust, and without trust, no government could function. The humans had not attacked the Council, they had simply withdrawn. And that withdrawal was destroying the Council more effectively than any war ever could. Because the humans had been holding the galaxy together, and no one had realized it until they left. 1 year after humanity left the Council, Dr. Sumi Kang called Minister Daiho Choi at midnight. Her voice was shaking, but not from fear. From excitement. "Minister, we did it. Project Horizon is complete. All systems are operational and tested." Daiho had been asleep, but he was instantly awake. This was the call he had been waiting for. "Show me," he said. An hour later, Daiho stood in the main laboratory of Project Horizon. Dr. Sumi Kang looked like she had not slept in days, which was probably true. Her research team surrounded her, all wearing the same exhausted but triumphant expressions. Sumi activated a holographic display. Specifications, test results, and performance data filled the air. "We have exceeded every target," she said. "The FTL communication system works perfectly. Messages can be sent instantly across 500 light-years. The Council's system only manages 50 light-years and takes minutes. Ours is instantaneous." That was the technology the Council had murdered an entire colony to suppress. Now humanity had it improved and perfected. "The quantum shielding is even better than predicted," Sumi continued. "We tested it against simulated weapons fire equivalent to a full Council battle fleet. The shields held at 87% capacity. They are nearly unbreakable. And the weapons?" Daiho asked. Sumi smiled. "The particle beam cannons cut through Council standard shields like they are not even there. The missile guidance systems have a 99% accuracy rate. And the point defense grid can intercept 300 incoming projectiles simultaneously. Power generation. The microfusion reactors operate at 300% the efficiency of Council reactors. Our ships can run shields, weapons, and engines at full capacity indefinitely. Council ships have to choose which systems to prioritize." Daiho studied the data. "And the automated manufacturing?"
"Fully operational."
"Our shipyards can now construct a warship in 1/3 the time it takes the Council. Every component is built by automated systems that work around the clock. We can outbuild them 5-1. Daiho looked at the tired scientists before him. They had done in 1 year what should have taken 10. They had not just matched Council technology. They had surpassed it. "You have done something incredible," he said. "You have made humanity safe." Sumi shook her head. "Safety is not enough, Minister. We can do more than survive. We can build something better than the Council ever was." That gave Daiho an idea. He called Ambassador Hyunwoo Park and Commander Borum Lee to an urgent meeting. When he explained his plan, both of them were quiet for a long moment. Finally, Hyunwoo spoke. "It is ambitious and risky. The Council will see it as a direct challenge." "They already see us as a challenge," Daiho replied. "But you are right, it is risky, which is why we need to show them we are serious." 2 weeks later, Ambassador Hyunwoo Park sent a message to every species that had been in secret contact with humanity. 19 species received the same invitation. Humanity is forming a new coalition. We call it the Sovereign Alliance. It is based on principles of complete equality, voluntary cooperation, and mutual respect. No species has special privileges. No species is forced to share technology or resources. Decisions require unanimous agreement. If you are interested in a different kind of galactic government, we invite you to join us. The response was immediate. The Falari joined within an hour. The Velkan Union joined the same day. By the end of the week, 19 species had signed the founding charter of the Sovereign Alliance. These were not small, weak species either. The Velkan Union was one of the Council's major military powers. The Corvin Mining Consortium controlled vast resources. The Talvex Trade Federation had the largest merchant fleet in the galaxy after humanity. When the Council learned about the Sovereign Alliance, the reaction was panic. Velthar could not believe what he was reading. They have not just left us. They have created a rival power block. General Zarn pounded his fist on the table. This is rebellion. This is sedition. We should crush them now before they grow stronger. With what? Ambassador Thora asked quietly. She had not joined the Sovereign Alliance yet, but she was clearly considering it. Our economy is failing. Our infrastructure is crumbling. And now you want to start a war with the most technologically advanced species in the galaxy, plus 19 allies? Ambassador Crix clicked his mandibles nervously. We need intelligence. We need to know what weapons they have, what their capabilities are. I can answer that, a junior intelligence officer said, stepping forward nervously. We have received reports from our scouts. The humans have been testing new systems at the neutral zone border. The officer brought up sensor recordings. The council members watched in growing horror. Captain Jiwon Kim had deliberately chosen an old council station scheduled for demolition. 5 human warships approached it. These were not the ships the council remembered. They were sleeker, faster, and bristling with weapons. The test began. The human ships opened fire. Particle beams lanced out, burning through the station's shields in seconds. The station's hull, which was built to withstand asteroid impacts, melted like ice under a blowtorch. The entire structure, 3 kilometers long, was reduced to debris in 47 seconds. Then came the defensive test. The human ships faced a simulated attack, a recorded weapons barrage from an entire council fleet during a previous battle. Hundreds of missiles and energy weapons converged on the 5 human ships. The point defense systems engaged. Every single missile was intercepted. Every energy beam was absorbed by shields that barely flickered. When the test ended, all 5 ships were completely undamaged. Their shields had not dropped below 80% capacity. The council chamber was silent. Finally, Velthar spoke. How is this possible? They have been isolated for only 1 year. The intelligence officer swallowed nervously. Our analysts believe humans had been researching advanced technology for decades. They just never deployed it while they were council members. Now they have no reason to hold back. They were studying us, Ambassador Thora said, learning from us, preparing for the day when they might need to stand alone. We gave them that day when we destroyed Taeyang 4. General Zarn watched the recording again. His military mind calculated odds and outcomes. None of them were good. We cannot defeat them in open combat, he admitted. Not with what we have seen here. Ambassador Crix looked sick. Then what do we do? No one had an answer. The formation of the Sovereign Alliance sent shockwaves through the galaxy. 8 more species immediately requested to join. 3 current council members, including the Talvex Trade Federation, announced they were considering switching sides. In human space, the first Sovereign Alliance summit convened. Ambassador Hyun-Woo Park stood before representatives of 20 species and outlined the alliance's purpose. For centuries, the council ruled through fear and control. They hoarded technology. They manipulated economies. They destroyed anyone who threatened their power. We are building something different. An alliance where every species is truly equal, where decisions are made openly, where power is shared, not hoarded. The Folari ambassador Sarala spoke next. She was old now, her blue fur turning gray, but her voice was strong. When my people were dying, the council did nothing. They cared more about politics than lives. The humans came to our aid without hesitation. They asked for nothing in return except honest partnership. That is the kind of alliance I want to be part of. One by one, the other ambassadors spoke. They all told similar stories. The council had failed them, controlled them, or threatened them. They wanted something better. Dr. Sumi Kang made an announcement that shocked everyone. Project Horizon's technology would be shared with all Alliance members. The advanced FTL communication, the improved shields, the efficient reactors, all of it. We have one condition, Sumi said. This technology can never be used for conquest. It is for defense and peaceful development only. Any species that uses it to attack others will be removed from the Alliance. The vote to accept these terms was unanimous. Back on Nexus Prime, Velthar realized the galaxy had changed forever. The Council was no longer the only game. Species had a choice now, and many of them were choosing the Sovereign Alliance. The Council that had ruled for 1,000 years was dying. And humanity, the species they had tried to suppress, was building its replacement. The council was down to 28 members. Nearly half had left to join the Sovereign Alliance or withdrawn into isolation. Economic problems that started as inconveniences had become disasters. Unemployment, food shortages, and infrastructure failures plagued dozens of worlds. Ambassador Crix watched his family's industrial empire crumble. The factories on Chitauri Prime, which had employed millions, stood silent and empty. Without human technology and maintenance, they could not function. His family wealth, accumulated over generations, was evaporating. He was desperate. And desperate people make dangerous decisions. General Zarn was also desperate, but for different reasons. The Vryn military had been the Council's strongest force. Now the Sovereign Alliance had superior technology and was growing larger every day. If he did not act soon, the Vryn Protectorate would become irrelevant. Zarn studied intelligence reports about Alliance members. Most were now under human protection. But perhaps he could remind everyone that the Council still had power. Perhaps a show of force would bring species back in line. The Folari seemed like an easy target. They were not a military power. They had joined the Alliance because they needed medical help, not because they wanted to fight. If Zarn could intimidate them back into the Council, it would show that the Alliance could not protect its members. He did not plan to attack, just to position his fleet in Folari space as a demonstration, just to remind them of the consequences of defying the Council. Velthar did not approve this operation, but he did not forbid it either. The High Counselor was tired of losing. Part of him hoped Zarn's plan would work. 15 Vryn warships entered Folari space and took up positions near the homeworld. They did not power weapons. They did not make threats. They just stayed there, large and menacing, impossible to ignore. Ambassador Sarala contacted the Sovereign Alliance immediately. Her message was calm but firm. The Vryn fleet is in our space without permission. They have not attacked, but their intentions are clear. They want to intimidate us. We invoke Article 3 of the Alliance Charter. We request assistance. Admiral Minho Quan received the call while his second fleet was on routine patrol near human space. He was 51 years old, a career officer with a reputation for being absolutely fearless and completely unforgiving of bullies. He studied the tactical display showing the Vryn positions. Then he smiled. It was not a friendly smile. All ships set course for Folari space. Maximum speed. Battle stations. Human FTL drives were faster than anything the Council had. The second fleet crossed the distance in 6 hours. They emerged from FTL directly between the Vryn fleet and the Folari homeworld. General Zarn watched the human ships appear on his sensors. 12 human warships against his 15. The numbers favored him. But he had seen the reports from the weapons tests. He knew human technology was superior. Still, he had not come here to fight humans. He had come to intimidate the Folari. Perhaps the humans would back down rather than risk a battle. Admiral Quan's message ended that hope. General Zarn, this is Admiral Minho Quan of the Sovereign Alliance Defense Force. You are in Folari space without authorization. You have 1 hour to leave. If you remain after that deadline, we will consider your presence an act of war and respond accordingly. Zarn's pride would not let him back down. He had commanded fleets for 30 years. He would not be ordered around by humans. Admiral Quan, we are here on Council business. This does not concern the Alliance. Withdraw your ships. The Folari are Alliance members. Everything concerning them concerns us. You now have 59 minutes. Zarn tried to contact Velthar for instructions, but the High Counselor did not respond. The communication lag meant it would take hours to get clear orders from Nexus Prime. Zarn had to decide on his own. He decided the humans were bluffing. They would not risk a major incident over the Folari. He ordered his fleet to hold position. Exactly 1 hour later, Admiral Quan gave the order to engage. The Battle of Folara lasted 14 minutes. The human ships moved with coordinated precision. Their shields activated, shimmering fields of quantum energy that made them nearly invulnerable. The Vryn fleet fired everything they had: missiles, plasma cannons, particle beams. The human point defense systems intercepted every missile. The human shields absorbed every energy weapon. Not a single human ship took damage. Then the humans returned fire. Their particle beam cannons cut through Vryn shields like they did not exist. One by one, Vryn warships went dark as their power systems were surgically disabled. The humans did not destroy them. They did not kill the crews. They simply turned them into floating scrap metal. 3 Vryn ships tried to retreat. Human vessels pursued, matching every maneuver, and disabled them before they could reach FTL speed. When it was over, all 15 Vryn warships floated powerless in space. Emergency life support kept the crews alive, but everything else was offline. They were completely helpless. Admiral Kwan broadcast on all frequencies, including the emergency council channels. General Zarn, your fleet has been neutralized. Your crews are unharmed. We could have destroyed you, but we chose not to. Remember that. You are alive because we allow it. We will tow your ships to the border and release them there. If you enter Alliance space again without permission, we will not be so merciful. The news spread across the galaxy within hours. The Vryn Protectorate, one of the Council's strongest military forces, had been effortlessly defeated by a smaller human fleet. Not just defeated, humiliated. Disabled and towed away like broken toys. The reaction was immediate. 8 more species requested to join the Sovereign Alliance. 3 council members announced they were leaving. Even Ambassador Thora of the Velkan Union, who had been reluctant to abandon the council entirely, submitted her resignation and formal application to the Alliance. I stayed because I believed the council could reform, she said in her resignation speech. But after watching them attempt to intimidate the Folari, I see clearly that reform is impossible. The council is built on power and fear. I choose to stand with those who build on cooperation and respect. On Nexus Prime, the council chamber had never been so empty. Only 20 members remained. The others had either joined the Alliance or withdrawn into isolation. Velthar looked at the empty seats and finally understood the full scope of what they had done. By destroying Taiyang 4, they had not suppressed human ambition. They had unleashed it. They had given humanity a reason to surpass them, to replace them. He called his closest advisors to his office. We are dying, he said bluntly. The council is dying, and we killed it ourselves when we destroyed that colony. Ambassador Crix clicked his mandibles frantically. There must be something we can do. Some way to restore order. The only way forward is to admit what we did, Velthar said. To apologize completely, to offer real justice, and to beg for forgiveness. Crix looked horrified. We cannot. That would mean trials. That would mean prison. That would mean justice, Velthar interrupted. Which is what we should have offered 23 years ago. He called for a council-wide referendum. The measure was simple. Offer humanity and the victims of Taiyang 4 a complete apology, full access to all classified files about the incident, war reparations equal to the GDP of 3 systems, and a guarantee that those responsible would face justice. The debate lasted 3 days. The hardliners argued this would destroy the council's authority. The pragmatists argued the council's authority was already destroyed. The final vote was 16 in favor, 12 against. Even facing extinction, nearly half the council still refused to admit fault. Velthar personally drafted the apology. It would be delivered in person. It would be broadcast across the galaxy. There would be no hiding, no political language, no excuses. He sent a message to Ambassador Hyunwoo Park, requesting permission to enter human space. To his surprise, Hyunwoo agreed. The humans had won. They had built a better alliance. They had proven their military superiority. Now they would decide whether the galaxy would have war or peace. Velthar prepared to face the people he had wronged. He did not know if they would forgive him. He did not know if they should, but he would give them the truth. It was 23 years late, but it was all he had left to offer. The galaxy held its breath and waited to see what humanity would do.